Guys, Navarro's getting fixed tonight, day 351. We're going to have an awesome interview with this young man right here, Andrei Chabai. He's going to tell you the truth about Ukraine, the war. But phase one of the Navarro repair is done. These guys treated us like gold here at the front end. We have an entirely new front end, and they really did a phenomenal job. We're now heading to an electrician. We need to make sure our backlights are working, and we're ready to get this thing completely fixed and back on the road to the south and to the east. Thank you guys. Day 351. Hope you enjoy. We go! Guys, we're sitting here tonight, one more place, getting a little more work done on the Navarra, and I'm sitting here with a dear friend of mine. His name is Andrei Chabai, and 31 years old. I've known him since he was about 5. Where's my notes at here?
Yeah.
And tonight I'm going to have a good chat with him, and I think this is really going to be enlightening for all of you. Andrei, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And you're welcome, buddy. And what do you do for a living? What's your job?
I'm a software engineer.
Okay.
For 14 years.
14 years software engineer.
Yeah. I'm working on American company. I won't say it.
No,
but,
can't say it,
yeah.
but you work for and help American companies with programming.
Yeah.
I've known you since you were a little boy, and so today we've spent a bit of time together, and I want to thank you. You bought me a little bit of a snack, and I much appreciate it. I wanted to buy it, but he wouldn't let me, so...
it was a pleasure for me.
Yeah,
Pleasure for me.
Thank you, buddy. We were talking earlier about how Ukraine is finding itself in the middle of world events right now in the war. But you said to me, Greg, but you know what? It's different now than when the war started. When the war first started, everybody's working together and working really hard, not only here in Ukraine, but also around the world. But now it seemed things, almost a year later,
Yeah.
things have changed a little bit as far as media and coverage and all that. So what did you mean by that?
I mean that there were a lot of information, there were a lot of press surrounding us, and they were covering almost all situation that we had. But for now, we have like less and less people that describes all situations. I mean, in terms of west part. So in terms of Ukraine, everything fine. We have everything, sometimes even more than we should or want to. But in terms of the world media, we have it less and less with each month.
Very little.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that. And one of the things that Jane and I focus on, and he's standing out here right now trying to
Get warm.
Get warm and do a deal with this guy to get some electrical work done. But that we try to tell stuff in English.
Yeah.
You know, we interview people or tell stories from Ukrainian or, out in the East in Russian, and we translate it. We've got a great team that does that and helps us, but we try to tell the truth because not only is it not getting out there in English, but there are fewer and fewer and fewer. If you and I were to pull up, for example, an American website right now, a big one, news, Ukraine probably wouldn't be on it.
Yeah, won't be on the first page.
Or the second.
Yeah. What I can see that such people as you, like volunteers, that have some social networks, like connections, they covering it better or like more often than media.
Than mass media or main media.
Main media. Yeah.
Now, when the war started, you were telling me earlier, when the war first broke out, I want to thank you for what you did personally to help, and you continue to help by doing your job and supplying funds and finances to military and to volunteers. And I appreciate you even today buying my lunch. It was a blessing for me. So you work, and you're doing that to help. That's your war effort, and you do it every day. But when the war first started, Tell people what you did by hosting people.
Yeah, the better I can like I thought what where I can like be in right place. We had a lot of refugees that were running from the east part to west. We even like my company that I'm working on. We had office in Kharkiv, and I started serving with my apartments. So my wife and daughter they were born
Abroad.
abroad, yeah, and I was serving with my flat. Approximately 100 people were in my flat in March of 22. Uh, yeah,
You were hosting
yeah,
them, feeding
yeah,
them, and families would come in each night.
yeah. Each night, new family come in.
Добрий вечір.
Добрий вечір.
Добрий.
Що там?
Що там? Що таке?
Де таке?
Бажаю здоров'я, дорогой.
Навзаєм.
As you can see, our interview has been interrupted by a mechanic. We'll be back. So our interview was interrupted a second because we've got the master here. What are we trying to do? Our backup lights there on the back when we're dropping aid, we're unable to turn them on and off at our control. And let me just tell you simply how it is, and we'll get back to Andre's interview in a minute. But in a nutshell, when we go to the front lines and drop aid, whether it's in villages that are under shelling or to military, there are times when we have to go with no lights. But when we get to the aid drop, we need to be able to flip just a touch of a light on. So we have top lights, we also have inside lights. And in addition to that, we also are going to get or have installed these red underlights so that when we're going in and out of places, we're able to see just a little bit. And of course, all this is with the military recommendation. I guess the next phase we need is night vision, but we'll see about that. But until then, this is what we do. So we're here getting that modified, not only so that we can deliver to people in the villages that have need, but equally important so that we can be safe and come back home alive. So that's what we're up to right now. And after this, we'll be back to Andre. All right, Andre, we've moved to the next phase of some vehicle repair, and we're in some office here. And let's finish up because it's getting late at night here in Khmelnytsky. So that was about your apartment and serving and helping people, and then you would have to clean the apartment
Yeah,
and prepare for the next.
cleaning sheets, like cooking food and like waiting for the next family.
Awesome. Um, if there's a second invasion, and there's never been a stop to the invasion, let me be clear.
Yeah.
But right now, it looks like tonight, already in Lugansk, they're pushing a lot of people in, a lot of soldiers. Do you think there could be another wave of refugees come if there's really an aggressive push and we have to do something like that again?
I think there will be the next wave of refugees, but it will be smaller because a lot of people. This war, it doesn't end. So it means that each week, each day, we have some refugees coming and coming. Um, but on the next level of escalation, we'll have like new level of refugees, new wave. But I think it will be smaller than it was before, and
Because there's less people.
yeah, that's less people, and also I believe our in the first invasion, like on Feb, it was completely shocked and like
Unexpected.
unexpected. The mess was everywhere. That's why you have to serving with like your flats because government and institutions they cannot cover it huge amount of refugees were. For now, we prepared better because we in this war already here, and yeah.
Well, I've noticed personally, Jane and I, and all of you guys here with us each night, you've noticed typically we tell you that, especially when we get out into the villages on the war zone fronts, it's about 10% of the population left in those villages. And that's not that everybody's been killed. Don't misunderstand. A lot have left already. So we'll see, but Ukraine, of course, will do everything they can to help, period. Ukrainians. Now, you told me that the war brings a different attitude to the small things in life, and you also made a reference to like we need to be light. It's like a candle in a dark place. So what did you mean by that? That you have a new appreciation for the small things in life.
Yeah, you completely reevaluate your life, your things you do, and even coffee with friends can taste more when you know that it could be the last coffee with him, or like you starting, before it, when you playing with kids, it's just for you guys, just your routine after the work.
Yeah.
But now you're playing and you completely in this game. You give all that you can in this time. You do it. You cover it better.
Well, when we were having our little snack today in the cafe, you told me that the coffee tastes really good. And I now understand what you're saying because honestly, it could be the last time we ever sit down together.
Yeah.
It won't, I hope. We're
Yeah.
sitting down together now,
Yeah. We won't preparing for it.
but it could be.
It could be.
That's why it's tasty. It's powerful, folks. Just listen. This is a 31-year-old professional that works with American companies. Let me ask you this for Ukraine in general, and I know your situation's a little bit different because you are paid in dollars, right?
Yeah.
For your salary from your company, so that helps.
Yeah.
But in general, has Ukraine seen an economic change? Have you witnessed it happen in front of your eyes?
Yeah, fortunately for my family, I have stable income. Of course, everything can change tomorrow, even tomorrow, because of like risks for company and so on. But in general, situation getting worse and worse because of lots of refugees. They lost their jobs. They lost everything, and they trying to like start new life, and government and country cannot help them. They trying to survive, actually literally survive.
Yeah.
And even in this situation it was hard, but also the world like crisis comes. I mean the inflation, it's like big for American, but in Ukraine, here in Ukraine, it's huge.
Yeah, we're experiencing inflation right now, and Americans complain about it,
Yeah.
of course, but it's just nothing compared to what's happening here. And then, of course, on top of that, we've got Chinese spy balloons flying over America. We've got the tragedy in Turkey and Syria with the earthquakes. We have Israel getting ready to go to war with Iran. We have North Korea, South Korea. We have craziness happening all over the world. And it's just like everything kind of centers on this Ukrainian area, though, and this war. So, yeah, it's tough for Ukraine, but I think you're also saying it's tough in the world right now. And it could, as a Ukrainian man, it could be a sign that the world is entering a new chapter.
Yeah,
And are you prepared for that?
not really. Yeah, I used to read about history, not live in history.
Right. That's what he
Yeah.
told me. He goes, we were walking through the streets today, and he goes, man, I like to read about history, but I really don't want to make it.
Yeah,
And but
it's
I
harder than
it's-
I expect.
it's harder to make history than to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, I personally believe the world's entering a new chapter. And we can look at the biblical side. We can look at, scriptures that are prophetic. I personally believe, and if you guys are here and don't know what I'm talking about, go read Ezekiel 38. I really think that's what we're coming up to, regardless of what your viewpoints are and your backgrounds and your religious affiliations. Regardless, it doesn't take rocket scientists or a computer programmer to realize we live in a different world now.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of strikes that Russia has done, in the last couple of questions, has been against civilian targets. I've witnessed them personally. I've shared them on the channel almost every day. But in addition to that, they also have struck electrical infrastructure.
Yeah.
So how does that affect Ukraine really? It affects your company big time.
Yeah, yeah. So it affects a lot because, for example, in my perspective view, I'm like working in IT and also have relationship with lots of like clients, and like it's increased amount of risk for the clients. So uh, they pay attention more what it can like affect, how it can affect them,
Correct.
and also optimizing the risks.
Unfortunately, okay, you smart guy, so unfortunately you can't blame them because they're not here.
No.
For example, you're working and helping American companies programming. You know, yeah, they're sorry, they
Yeah.
want to help,
Yeah.
but regardless, they still have clients and they
Yes.
can't have a company working for them that can't even keep the power on.
That's
So
true.
it all affects each other. You know, back to the inflation number, I've been here since the first part of January on this trip. I was here in September, end of August. I've literally myself, whether we're talking about companies and power issues or inflation, I've witnessed, because here life's different. You know, in America, you go buy your groceries and then maybe go pick up a couple things a couple times a month. But here, me and my buddy, when I'm in Khmelnytsky, we basically go to the market every day, and you just buy a little bit of food you need for that day.
Yeah.
I personally have witnessed the price increase in the last 30 days, 20%. Personally.
Yeah, it increased for the 1 year more than twice for some products.
Doubled.
Yeah, it's double for some.
Once again, it's all connected, and that's the war, that's the assault, not only on people, civilians, genocide, whatever, but this war is much bigger than we understand. And as you said, I prefer to read about history and not make it. But I'm glad you're making it. This is a good guy, folks, and this is a typical, high-level, educated, trilingual Ukrainian professional. This is where you get the truth about what's really happening. So tonight, we thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from
Thank you.
a man I've known for 26 years.
Thank you. Thank you that
You're welcome.
you doesn't stay aside. You with us and you telling the truth.
Thank you, buddy. It was kind of like we were just picking the truck up from the front end work, and they're all there talking. They were kind of surprised I could speak the language, and then we were showing them some videos. But you made an observation
Yeah.
that forget what you're saying, forget what you're doing, which is all important. They're just happy somebody from another country's here with them.
Yeah. Also, your level awareness of the situation, sometimes it more than theirs, and they are impressed, and
Yeah.
they doesn't feel so alone in it and so hopeless.
Well, we have a great community here. We've got a great church, of course, our home church, About the Life, and we're all working together. And this is reality, folks. This is reality. So, Andre, thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, you've got to do Jania's part tonight.
Which one?
Oh, and by the way, what's coming up on February 14th?
Valentine's Day.
And no, but what is that?
Also, Jania will have his
Jania's birthday is coming up February 14th. We're probably going to be down on the front line somewhere, but you guys are going to have to do something special for his birthday here in the chat and different things. So you're going to do Jania's part tonight. And I know you watch our stream, so I'll say a good night to all, and you have to say to all a good night. Are you ready?
Not really.
Try again. To all a good night.
To all, a good night.
Right. Okay, so you ready? Look right in the camera. A good night to all.
To all, a good night.